not even mean Bowers game for me.
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today we're excited checking out Call to Adventure from Brother Wise Games. Craft your heroes, claim your destiny. This is for 1 to 4 players. Age is 13 plus, so it'll take about 30 to 60 minutes to play. And in Call to Adventure, you are going to be playing as an adventurer, and you're going to have certain characteristics you're going to draft at the beginning of the game. You might be an orphan, you might be a pirate, you might be a bag lady or something, and then you're going to slowly throughout the game acquire generally 1 card on your turn that is going to add to your story and also give you symbols which will get you points and allow you to roll more of these really cool looking little rune things. They're not like dice, they're like 2-sided dice. You'll see in the middle part. It's pretty light, it's pretty simple, family-friendly style game, while at the same time being a game night game. It's got a cooperative variant, it's got a solo variant. But is it good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. I do want to forewarn you, the middle part is a little bit longer than I like it to be because I went into pretty good detail about how to play the game, so be forewarned. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Call to Adventure. So first and foremost, we have our handy dandy rule booklet, 13 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's... I can't put my finger on what it was, but I didn't like the rule booklet as much as I thought I should. I read the rule booklet twice at work the day before I played. Actually, the day that I played the first time. And I was like, all right, I should be able to teach this no problem. It has like a splendorish feel, and this is going to go over smooth sailing. It says 30 to 60 minutes. We should be capping in around 30 to 45 minutes. And it ended up taking us 2 hours to play, partially because it took me so long to explain the game. And I can't pinpoint what it was. It just wasn't an easy game to explain the first time. Now, that being said, the next time I explained it, super simple because it's a super simple game, but that's just something I wanted to mention. So in Call to Adventure, what you're going to do is you're going to take one of these boards down here, and you are going to live an exciting life. You're going to start off, and you're going to be, you're going to have characteristic. You'll be a sole survivor, chosen by the light, vow of vengeance, pure of heart, blah, 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 blah. You're going to be one of those things. Then you're also going to have pretty much like a middle of your life, something happens. So you'll become a squire, or a student, or a performer, or a pickpocket, or whatever. But the main thing about these cards is you just want to look at the symbols and the special ability. The artwork and what you actually are, I mean, I don't think most people are going to pay attention to that at all. And but the theme is that you're living out your life. And then the last card is pretty much just how you're going to get points at the end of the game. It'll either have like a big number up here, or it might say at the end you get stuff for doing certain things, being good, being evil, collecting this or collecting that, or just a whole bunch of different ways you're going to be able to score points. At the beginning of the game, you are going to get 2 cards dealt to you, and then you're going to place one of those cards down here. So we'll just get this all started up, and I'll actually run you through a couple mock rounds because I think that's actually the easiest way to teach. Once you're ready to start the game, you are going to flip over the first 2 cards. You never flip this card until the very end of the game. So I'm bound by honor, and I am a sailor. Now, what does all of this mean? That's the good question. So let's get over to the components, and then we'll get into the gameplay, and then I'll start going down exactly what you're going to do on your turn. So first, you have your player board. And your player board is actually pretty useful. You're going to be keeping track of whether or not you're a good character or a bad character, a hero or an anti-hero over here. You'll be going up or down. And there'll be symbols that you'll see on cards that will have moons or they will have suns, and that will tell you to either go up or either go down. And that I didn't feel was as clearly explained in the rules as maybe it should have been. But you know, that's just one of the things that I might have had an issue with the rule booklet. Down here is going to tell you how the runes work, because one of the big stars of the show are going to be these really kind of cool looking domino looking pieces, which you're going to be rolling by kind of just, you know, taking them and just kind of throwing them. And it will tell you what all the different symbols mean. And this actually is very helpful when you're first learning the game and you're trying to figure out what score you're going to need to get with the runes that you have. So next, let's take a look at a card. We'll start with taking a look at the cards down here. So in the top is normally going to be some stuff that you have. And these are things that you'll have at the end of the game. They will either get you victory points or they will help you along throughout the game. So this one right here is just 2 victory points. It's 2 white, but that's just 2 victory points. And there's white victory points and there's black victory points. At the end of the game, you're going to get points for your white victory points, for your black victory points, for your red things, which are actually money, which you'll be using on a variety of different ways. A lot of times cards will allow you to spend them, or you can spend them to get these special black runes, which I'll talk a little bit about later. You'll get points for how many of these cards you have. And that is one thing that I really do like about the game, and I love when games do this. You're encouraged to use your cards that you get because they will get you victory points. You don't get the victory points for not spending them. You get the victory points for spending them. And I love when games do that because when you get cool cards, you just want to play them. You'll get victory points for where you are on this track. So obviously, if you're really good, you'll get 8. If you're really bad, you'll get -4. And you can see the numbers over here. And there's, I think, 1 or 2 other things you're going to get points for. So it's almost kind of a point salad game. Oh, the big thing is there's set collection as well. There's these little black and white symbols scattered throughout the game. And if you get enough of them, I think it's 4. Yeah, it is 4. You get 8 of it. And boom, it's right there. It's actually, I would recommend keeping the score sheet near everybody so they can kind of see different ways that you're going to score points at the end of the game. So, what you're going to do. So I've explained a lot of the components. Let's just get in the gameplay, and I'll give you a feel for how the game plays and what you're going to be doing on your typical turn. Because on your typical turn, you're going to be, most of the time, acquiring one of the cards up here. And there's 2 different kinds of cards out there. There's challenges and there's traits. A trait is just something you can just do. You don't really have to challenge yourself to it at all. So this is a trait. I become an orphan. And if I successfully get this card, I will get one of these cards, a hero card, and this is an anti-hero card, actually, because it's got the black around it, and I would get 2 victory points at the end of the game. However, down here is going to be the requirement that you'll have to do it. So when you gain this, gain a moon and $2. So that's all you have to do. So this one, I get myself a moon, which means I go down right here, and I get myself $2, and then I just tuck this, just like that. So now I'm an orphan that's bound by honor. And that's it. Simple as that. And that'd be my entire, well, that would most of the time be my entire turn. Now you do, oh yeah, and I would have gained the card. Now you do have some free actions that you can take, and most of the time those are just like the King of Tokyo style thing where you can spend money to get rid of a card in the row so you can get a new card out there, or spend one of these cards, because these cards you can play this after another hero has attempted a challenge, they must attempt it again. Most of the time you're going to be playing them on your turn. There are some cards like this where you'll be playing them on other people's turns. So those are traits. Now let's talk about the challenges, and the challenges are really the heart of the game. So this is a challenge, the academy, so going to college. So you can either excel in your studies or you can learn deep lessons. Now they tell you right from the beginning that you need to pick either the top or the bottom before you roll your runes. But most of the time it's not going to matter. The reason why they tell you that you need to do that is because some of them will have like a +1 on the bottom part. So it'll be slightly more difficult, you know, to learn deep lessons instead of excelling in your studies. But this one, it doesn't really matter. Now, over here is the strength of the card. At the Academy, you have to get at least 4 successes on your runes that you're going to roll. And you always get to roll 3 runes. So you're always going to be rolling, let me see if I can find them real quick, the 3 basic runes, which will look just like, not that one, just like these 2. Ah, there it is. These 3. So at most, with just the 3 basic runes, you can get 1, 2, 3 successes. At worst, you could get 0 successes, and then this one allows you to either draw a hero or an anti-hero card. And that symbology is actually down there on the player board. So it is nice that it's down there. And so obviously we're not going to be able to get 4 here. So how do we get 4? Well, next we're going to look at these 2 symbols right here, and we're going to look at our player board and see how many magic wands and green mountainy things we have. So taking a look down here, we have 1 magic wand, which means that we would also get to roll an additional magic wand. A magic wand is either going to be 2, if you happen to roll the magic wand, 2 successes, or 1 success. So right now, we could potentially get up to 5. But that's still not that good, especially when we need 4. We don't have any mountains. As you can see, we have a sword, and we have the magic wand. So what we're going to do is we can spend our hard-earned money to roll the magic black runes. And these are kind of like the evil runes. This is kind of like asking for help from a mobster or something, I guess, thematically. I don't know. I'm not even trying to do the theme here. And this is either going to be 2 successes or 1 success. You're always guaranteed to get 1 when you do this. But the catch is, if you roll the moon, then you have to go down 1 on the moon track. Now, back to the moon track, as you can see, when you're here or here, you can play either hero cards or anti-hero cards. But once you start getting down here, you can only play anti-hero cards. And when you're up here, you can only play hero cards on your turn. Now, luckily, there's quite a few ways that you're going to be able to manipulate that and go up or down based on the cards that are out here or the cards that you draw. But that being said, other people can also manipulate it for you with some of the cards that they're going to be drawing as well. So I will pay the $1, and I think we can probably succeed at this now. So on my turn, I'm going to attempt the academy, and I would want to tell people that I am going to go to excel in your studies. Why? Well, I already have one magic wand down here. If I have two magic wands, then I would start rolling 2 of the magic wand tiles, which is great. And if you ever get to 3 of a particular symbol, then you get to start rolling these magical 3-dotted ones. And the 3-dotted ones are either going to have 2 successes or they're going to have no success, but some sort of bonus that you're going to get. So you might draw a hero card or gain an experience token or draw an anti-hero card. So getting to 3 is really nice in that aspect because you're 50-50 shot. You're either going to get 2 successes or you're going to get something good. So let's roll it up and let's see what we get here. We're trying to get to 4, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We crushed it, and since I didn't roll a moon, I don't have to go down on the track. So that's nice. So I'd set all these off to the side. Good for me. And then I'd take my Excel in your studies, and I would tuck it right here. Everything else on the card is no longer important. But I am now an orphan who's bound by honor. I went to college and I excelled in my studies. But more importantly now, whenever I'm going to be trying to look for things that have the magic wand symbol on them, because like this one right here, because those are going to be a lot easier for me. Also, I got one of these things. I think it's a gallet, or I don't know what that is. And now I'm on my path to set collection as well. So that would be what I would do on my turn. I'd flip over another card, and then the other person would go. Now, when does the game end? So when the game is going to end is once... Well, I should start with when do these other cards start getting flipped over? So once someone has 3 cards tucked under their first phase. So these are kind of like your level 1 cards, your level 2 cards, and your level 3 cards most of the time. Once you have 3 cards tucked under this one, then once it's your next turn, you start to reveal the level 2 cards. And the level 2 cards are now unlocked for everybody. Everybody can now play the level 2 cards. And once you get 3 cards tucked under here, then you can start doing the level 3 cards, but you still keep this face down. And once you have 3 cards tucked under this one, so you have 3 here, 3 here, and 3 here, that's when the game is going to be triggered. Everyone else is going to have one more turn, and then you're going to total up your points, which, as we said, it's kind of a point salad game. You're going to be looking at the text on your cards and the black and the white and the red and the different cards you played and all sorts of different things. Now, that's the base game. Whoever has the most points will be the winner of the game. But I did want to take time to mention that there is a solo game and a cooperative game, and there's 2 mini expansions in here where it's like once you know how to play the base game, you can bump up the game by adding what are called allies, which essentially are just going to add most of the time +1 to different. So when this comes out, you would just tuck it under one of these, and then that makes it so it's going to be a little bit more difficult because now it's +1 difficulty, but it is going to give you an extra symbol most of the time. And also, you can kill this person. Most of them you can kill and you'll gain something special. So you can kill your allies, which I found kind of funny. There's also adversaries that you can play with, which I would honestly just recommend playing with every time. I'd recommend playing with the allies and the adversaries if you have a grasp of the game because they're both very simple to add. The difference between an adversary and a regular card is the only difference is they're slightly more difficult, and because this one's 6, and you only have one choice. You can only do the bottom. There's no top. As for the solo and the cooperative game, how that works is it's really very simple. You are going to have one adversary that you're going to face at the end of the game. And once someone has 8 cards tucked under here, then they will have the choice. Well, they will try and face the adversary. And if you destroy the adversary, then you tuck it and the game is over. But even with the cooperative version of the game, it's still one of those cheap cooperative games where it's like, oh, but then you total up the points. And despite the fact you all won, one other person really is the winner. And the solo game, you could easily just swap it out. But I will say the cooperative game is kind of interesting because there's this other deck of cards, and as you play some of your awesome cards, you start flipping over these, and they give you like difficult choices. So give your adversary +2. Or whenever you gain a mountain, this adversary gains $1, which is really bad because if they get a certain amount of money, then they automatically just win the game. Well, that in a nutshell is what you're going to do inside of Call to Adventure. Alrighty then, Call to Adventure from Brotherwise Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First on the... Oh, we're actually going to start with the pros on this one. I was not expecting that. First on the pro side, artwork's really good looking. It's really gorgeous. I mean, you can see the artwork and you see that, and I don't think anybody's going to tell you the artwork's not good. Also, component-wise, I like the box insert, I like the trays, I like pretty much all the components. I don't think I have any real complaints about the components, aside from maybe the rule booklet. There's a good deal of stuff. I mean, when you're first drafting your 3 cards at the beginning, there's a whole bunch of those cards to draft from. There's big stacks of these level 1 and level 2 and level 3 cards, so your character is going to be different each time. You're going to have different characteristics, different traits, different this, different that. But, and I'll tell you the but when we get to the cons, I do like the fact that there is the competitive version of the game and there is a cooperative version of the game, and those do, I like that. I like that a lot. And I thought I was really going to like the cooperative version of the game, to be honest with you, but I didn't, which I'll talk about more in the cons. As a solo game, also, there's a solo variant in there, which is a great way to learn the game and teach it to other people. But yeah, I'll tell you about the cons later. Continuing on with the pros, the game is easy to teach once you have a firm grasp of how the game works. Like in that middle part, I talked for about 10 minutes, and I feel like if I would have, maybe tightened that up just a little bit, I could teach you how to play the game in about 10 to 15 minutes. So that's good. I liked tucking the cards. I like looking at that. I like the story aspect of the game, even though it doesn't really come across that well. And that's all I have. I don't have much else nice to say about the game. Like, nothing about this game wowed me in any way, shape, or form. And moving on to the cons, I felt like this game was just aggressively mediocre, and there's a lot of reasons why. So first and foremost, the story doesn't come across at all. Like, it's just you're tucking random cards, and you're looking at the symbols, and you're not so much looking at what you're becoming or the hero you're becoming. You don't feel like, oh, I was an orphan, but now I'm facing a warlock, or I'm paying a bribe, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's like, whatever. We'd forgotten about the story most pretty much 3 or 4 turns in. It's just, we're just looking for symbols. We're looking for which runes we're going to get. We're looking for, this has black or white diamonds on it. And that pretty much, it just became more of a mechanical game at that point. And I think that's how most people are probably going to play this game, unfortunately. But they did try to put that theme in there, but it does not come across. But the biggest problem I have with this game is that there's no real tension or challenge at all in this game. I played 3 games of it now. I played a 4-player game, I played a solo game of it, and then I played a 2-player game. And I didn't fail any of the challenges. Ever. Now, other people did fail some challenges, but that's more because they took some risks. And part of the reason why the game loses its sense of tension is because you get to pick your challenges every time. And you pretty much are going to pick challenges that A, are going to help you, but B, that you're going to succeed on. Also, once people start unlocking level 2, you can pick out level 2 or level 1 based on what you have in front of you, which makes it even easier. So as the game progresses, you get more choices to pick from. I felt like at the beginning of the game was when the game was most hardest, and then it slowly gets easier as you go through. Now, that being said, I did have really high hopes for the cooperative version of the game. I played the solo version of the game, and I just want to tell, or not the solo, I played the 4-player version of the game. We played competitive, and I want to tell you that went over really, really bad. The game lasted about 2 hours. The rules were way more difficult to explain than I would have liked them. And I can't really point a finger to what exactly didn't click with me in the rules. I have this channel. I explain a lot of rule books. And what I did is I read the rule booklets twice the day I was going to play it. I was like, all right, this should be no problem. I should have this taught in about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll be up and on our way, and it just dragged on and on and on and on and on, as did the game. The 4-player version of the game, it was just by the end, one person cared, and nobody else really cared. They were just like, all right, can we just get this over with? Let's just play something else. Which is never something good. But I had high hopes for the cooperative version of the game because, I read more about the cooperative version. I was like, oh, cool. So every time you play one of these cards, and playing the cards is really, really useful, you're going to be essentially buffing the bad guy. And I was like, that's awesome. That's going to make it fun. That's going to make it great. And then I played it and I was like, oh, no, it's not, because you see the adversary right from the jump. So you know exactly what you need to plan for. So you get this adversary card, and that's the big bad guy you're going to have to fight at the end. And so ideally, you're training yourself to fight this big bad guy, but you're probably going to be throwing 9 runes by that point, and if you buy more, maybe 10 or 11 or 12 runes, and it's like all the tension's gone. You're going to succeed most likely, and it just it didn't work for me. Now, that being said, the cooperative version of the game can get difficult when it comes to the money management and making sure the bad guy doesn't get enough money, but it fell flat. And I was really excited about the cooperative version. I thought the cooperative version and the solo version was going to save the game for me, and it did not. If anything, it just soured me on the game a little bit more because I'll be honest with you, I had really high hopes for this game. I liked Unearthed a lot. You know, I didn't review it because I didn't have a copy of it. My buddy did. I played it, I think, twice. And I really liked Unearthed. And I was super excited about this, crafting your own hero, going on adventures. I was like, yes, sign me up for this. They reached out, they emailed, but I was like, this game looks awesome. And so when you have those high hopes and they're just, like, I can't even tell you that I think this is a good game. It was just really disappointing. And then to just punch me in the stomach one more time where I was like, all right, I don't like this as a competitive game. But I think I'm going to like this as a solo game. I think I'm going to like this as a cooperative game. And then it doesn't satisfy me there either. It's just, the game just continues to let me down. You know, I like the runes. I like them a lot. But at the same time, it's just, it's way too easy to say, all right, I'm going to get between a 4 and a 6 or here, or a 4 and a 7 here. And it's just too much not too much forward planning, but just knowing too much knowledge. It takes the fun out of rolling the runes because most of the time, if you're planning accordingly, you should succeed. And there wasn't enough diversity in the cards. That was another thing, because most of the, like as I said, it goes to a certain point in this game where you're not even looking at the beautiful artwork in the card or the text in the card. It's just like, all right, I'm looking at the symbols, I'm looking at what it's going to give me, I'm looking at the strength, and then I'm moving on about my merry way. And also, there's the other aspect of this game. The downtime between turns is it's longer than you might want it to be, especially if someone doesn't have a firm grasp on the game, which did happen when I was playing the game. They were a little bit confused about certain things, probably because my rules explanation was not the best. But even 3/4 of the way through the game, still asking questions, and I see what they were going for here, and I felt like it fell flat on its face. And unfortunately, Call to Adventure is a game that I never want to play ever again. Maybe if they added some stuff in the future, which made it more difficult, maybe if they just interweaved in like really super difficult cards, like they had the adversary cards, but still they just feel like regular cards. Like only having one way you can go isn't that big of a deal, and there's lots of like rules where it's like, really, does this need to be a rule? Like, I don't know. You know what? I'll take back that last criticism because I forgot that there are +1s on certain cards, but big disappointment for me. That is Call to Adventure from Brotherwise Games. Really hyped for this one, and unfortunately, it did not live up to its expectations. Now, that being said, one person I played it with liked it. They liked it a good deal. So I want to mention that. And she is on the lighter side of games. So I would say this is a try before you buy if you like lighter style games. And I even had someone who's on the heavier style game, like they're a big fan of Felds, who said, yeah, I could see myself maybe liking this if I was only playing it 2 players or if I was only playing it solo. Oh, but it's the last con. There's just too many to keep track of. The last con I have of this game is that the cooperative version of the game, it just cops out. It's like one of those games where it's like, hey, you won, but actually Danny over there won because he has the most points. You're like, wait, what? I thought this was a cooperative game, bro. It's like, no, it's cooperative. Like, you're all trying to beat the adversary. Hooray, you all beat the adversary. But he wins. He wins. And it's just, that's a your mileage may vary kind of thing, but I just hate that. It's like, either make it cooperative, where everybody wins and everybody loses, or make it not cooperative. I'm done. I'm done talking about it. That is Call to Adventure from Brotherwise Games, a game that I cannot personally recommend, but if it looks like it might be your cup of tea, give it a try before you buy it. That would be my strong recommendation there. If you enjoyed this review, please feel free to click on that subscribe button down below. If you want to support the channel, click on the show notes down below. Click on that little Amazon link. Buy anything on Amazon. Throws a couple pennies my way. It really does help support the channel. And in the comments below, let me know what was the last time you were hyped for a game and it let you down. It let you down, and it let you down big time. So I'm looking around at my shelves, and then I'm like, oh wait, that game would not be on my shelves still. So I just have to kind of remember, which my memory is terrible. For me personally, the last game that really let me down, You know, it's really hard for me to remember these because I get rid of the games after I review them. I'm going to go with MacGyver the Escape Room game because I still have that game over there. Me and my wife played through, I think, 2 or 3 of the scenarios, and I was really hyped for it. I loved MacGyver when I was a kid. I thought it was a great show. I like MacGruber, the parody of MacGyver. I like escape room games an awful lot, and they emailed me like, hey, you want to play this escape room game? And I was like, yes, I love escape room games. And then I just didn't like the escape room game at all because it was just pretty much one person doing something while everybody else just kind of, you know. Can I look at that when you're done? Okay. How's work today? Yeah. I had a coworker do that once, and it's just really hard to deal with because the thing is, you feel like you're kind of over. Oh yeah, you're done. Yeah, let me look at it. And then they have a conversation. Yeah. So there we go. For me, it was the MacGyver escape room game. But let me know in the comments below. When's the last time you played a game that you were hyped about and then it just fell flat on its face? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.